Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I am going to share with you some design tips and plans that Jerry and I have for the house side of the privacy berm. Y'all have been with us for the last 2 years as we have constructed and planted and designed this. Basically, it's 100-foot. It varies in width as it goes through, but this is a privacy berm that separates our house from the public spots of the garden center and the nursery. And it has been such a fun area to design and to enjoy. But we're going to shake things up this year. So let me give you a little idea and viewpoint of what it looks like right now. Of course, here we are in towards the end of November. Isn't it crazy? Thanksgiving is just around the corner. But this is the side that we are talking about right here. We are just now reaching the 2-year anniversary of this flower bed, this berm, because it used to be just a giant field and we have thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, when we designed the house side of the berm, we wanted to leave lots of room for annual color. So that's why you see all of this empty space right here. And it was kind of Jerry's idea to take the sprinter boxwoods and to form them in a little bit of a V shape. We have the cherry trees right here. And so these two, with the cherry tree and then the V of the sprinter boxwoods, they mirror on both sides. And his idea was that we would have structure here. They would grow together as a hedge and it would, fill in the middle with the annual color. And while we have enjoyed the annual color, because we've gone through 2 summers of having that annual color in there, one, we don't love the way that the boxwoods are. And it just didn't turn out in reality as what it was in his brain. So we just don't really love that whole design and the look of it. 2, and while we love the summer annuals and massive color for so many months out of the year, it is a ton of work to plant them, maintain them, pull them out, and all of the things. So we're going to kind of switch it up a little bit, and we are still going to leave a big pocket for those annuals. We're just going to reduce the number of them, and we are going to change up the whole boxwood situation. So this is what we are currently thinking. This is the plan as of right now, but if you know us, those plans could change once we get in here. So we have here in the center, and it's hard to tell because the leaves are gone, but here in the center on the other side, we have a purple plum tree. Gorgeous. So that's dead center of the berm. Trees on the other side. Then, equally spaced, we have on the fence post right here, this is the Sensation honeysuckle from Proven Winners. It is a nice, evergreen, semi-evergreen honeysuckle. So what we're going to do is from Sensation, we're going to swoop around here to the next Sensation, and we're going to put in a different kind of evergreen shrub, one that is low maintenance. You don't have to prune it. The bugs don't like it. You don't have dieback. It's very cold hardy, very heat tolerant. We're going to head over to the nursery here in a little bit, and I'm going to show you what it is. So that is the idea that we're going to do. Then within that inner sanctum of that boxwood alternative, that will be where we put lots of annual color, because let me show you, we do have 3 of the Summerific Holy Grail hibiscus in here. So you can see, right, the purple plum, then a hibiscus, and then down here is the other hibiscus. And you will see also that here, especially, maybe it's everywhere, I just know us, we deal with in the South tons of winter weeds. So you're going to see weeds in here. Clearly we've got to get in here and take care of those, but for right now, it is what it is. So we're going to go from this Sensation and do some sort of swoop, kind of coming down where Brenna is, down here on the front, and then back up. That will provide a nice evergreen frame for those beautiful summer spring, our early fall annuals in there, give us loads of color. Then what we're going to do on those other areas that are now going to be completely open, that's where we're going to fill in and kind of mimic what we did on the nursery side of the berm, where we have a mixture of beautiful shrubs, we have perennials. So it's going to be, while there is going to be still work to do where you have to maintain them and fertilize them and all that, we're not going to have to be planting as much in the spring and then pulling out again in the late fall, early winter. So I've got 2 hydrangeas that I can't wait to share with you that we're putting in there. We're currently growing them. A little tip, right? So we have some tips and tricks on that for you, but I just kind of wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we are doing. Now, if you have been following us, you know that in early December, I have quite the order from our friends at Color Blends arriving. Color Blends, of course, is that great company where you can order tons. I mean, they just have a massive inventory of spring flowering bulbs, whether they be annual for you or perennial. And so I have got quite a significant order arriving for all of the spring flowering bulbs that are going to be here at Creekside. What we are going to do in the berm, both on this side and on the nursery side, we're going to tuck them in little pockets, is I have big apricot tulip coming. So big apricot is a Darwin hybrid tulip. She lives up to her name, folks. She's going to be about 2 feet tall. She is a mid-season bloomer because where I am here in North Carolina at Zone A, I like to have those mid-season bloomers, either the early or the mid. I never do late just because the late bloomers do start to interfere with me because I need to get my summer annuals in as fast as I can. So I like to do early or mid, totally up to everybody, but big apricot, 2 feet tall, and then it's just gonna be that gorgeous, like fluorescent, orange apricot color that is going to be stunning. Last year we did a blend, and while it was beautiful, it didn't have the impact that I wanted it to have. So by sticking with one color, big apricot, only one color in here, and then I think, we'll see how it turns out, but I think instead of trying to plant the bulbs like individually and fill in little tiny holes all the way, I'm going to create like big circles. So I'll create like a big circle loaded up with the tulips and have the clumps. So instead of trying to create like a carpet, I'm gonna have little pockets, well, big pockets of the tulips coming in through here. So that is the plan as far as what it's going to be in the spring. And then we're already dreaming, of course, about next summer. What are we going to put in here next summer? And that is still to be determined. And so we will see how that goes. But you can see, yeah, it's just kind of empty right now. It doesn't have much interest. It's just this kind of plain Jane. You see some green from the weeds, but that's about it. So let's head over to the garden center, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the evergreen shrub that we're going to put in here. Okay, we're down on the shrub lot here at the nursery, and before I show you the evergreen that we're going to put in, I do want to show you the Sensation honeysuckle because we have some here. Y'all, it is blooming. Maybe mine's just mad at me in the berm, I don't know, but these Sensations are blooming. And y'all, I just put my nose up to it, and it has that classic lovely honeysuckle fragrance to it. Now, if you're familiar with honeysuckle, especially here in the South, you know that it can be quite a pesky vine. But here, this is not going to be crazy, like an invasive. I've had that honeysuckle in for 2 years, and it is extremely well behaved. It just blooms and blooms. You can cut it back, you can trim it. It does really nice big size blooms on it. You can see that it's got buds on it. Like y'all, we've been in the 30s, and it's still blooming and putting on new growth. But as far as the specs for it, so there's your Sensation. It is hardy in zones of 4 to 9, 10 feet tall, 2 to 4 wide. Of course, it does want that full sun. If you need to prune it, I pruned mine. It would be like after it flowers. But yeah, I mean, look at that. So pretty. So anyway, okay, that's the Sensation. Now, come on down here. We've got what we're going to put in. One of my thoughts before we decided on the shrub we're putting in was the fire chiefs. I love the fire chief, these thujas. Great evergreen, great foundation plant, extremely adaptable. They love the full sun, would do really, really well here. Nice rounded habit. They are basically a 4x4 and hardy in zones 5 to 9. So two things about the fire chiefs in this situation that I decided that I did not want to use the fire chiefs. One, 4x4. Getting a little too tall and a little too big for me on that. And then two, honestly, because in the fall, winter, they take on that copper reddish hue to them. And being in the berm, they're gonna have, obviously have mulch around them, and they're not gonna be in a diverse situation where a lot of other things are gonna be right beside of them to help accent their color. So I'm afraid that in the winter, they're just gonna look like they blend in to the mulch. And I want a nice pop of vibrant green throughout the season. Now I have fire chiefs and I just put them in the landscape over there in the new cottage garden, but they're surrounded by other evergreen plants that are gonna give them pops of color and make them stand out. So that's why we didn't go with the fire chiefs. What we are going to use are these sweet little, and I do mean sweet, look at this, y'all. This is a Dragon Prince Cryptomeria, and the Dragon Prince is going to be wide but not nearly as tall as the fire chief. They are very soft. Well, I wouldn't say they're soft. They're not prickly, so they don't poke you like a juniper or a cedar would. And the Cryptomerias, the Dragon Princes, have these really cool texture on it. It almost reminds you of the texture of like a sedum, the way that it looks. Maybe like a, not quite lemon coral, but it's just a really different kind of texture to it. I want to say they're like 2 to 3 tall, 3 to 4 wide on these, hardy in zones like 6 to 9, which is absolutely perfect because I have to think about in that berm, it gets full sun. I mean, from the moment the sun comes up to the moment the sun goes down, it gets sun and it bakes. So I need them to be very heat tolerant for me. I'm a zone 8. These are hardy to a zone 9. So perfect on that. Then I have to think about the winter time. So in the winter, even though it's helping because it is on the south side of the berm, like south facing side of the berm, but it's super exposed. So in the winter time, when we have, and I know I'm in North Carolina, but when I have cold winters or cold winter winds coming through, they'll be protected because they are on the south side, but they're also very cold hardy for me. So they're already cold hardy to a zone 6. So I don't have to worry about as far as like losing the plants in the winter time. So if you're looking at a plant that's going to be in full exposure, right? It's not going to be really protected. I think about my winter time. I'm a zone 6. It's cold hardy to a zone, I'm a zone 8, sorry. I'm a zone 8, it's cold hardy to a zone 6. So we got great coverage that way. And then I think about the summertime. I'm a zone 8, it's hardy to a zone 9, so we're really good on that. So when you're trying to determine what plants that you want to put into your landscape, keep your zones in mind, right? So if it was only hardy to a zone 8, I am an 8, then maybe I need to give it a break in the afternoon from the sun, right? There's plenty of plants that I have to do that with. If it was only hardy to a zone, like heat tolerant wise, zone like say 8 to 10, then that means in the wintertime it could be a little iffy. So then I would need to give it protection in the wintertime. So whether that's a tree line or a house or like a building, a structure, those are just things that we have to think about when we are planning and designing our gardens. So the Dragon Prince just checks off all the marks for me. And I think it's going to be really fun. It's a nice bright green. It's not going to change color. And it's just going to be a great standard foundation shrub that lets my spring annuals, my summer annuals, and then on the other side, the other shrubs and perennials that are going to accent off of that. So Dragon Prince is going in. We will be doing this. The plan is, is that we do this before the tulips come. So that way we know exactly where to put the tulips. Time is ticking. We will see how all that turns out, but that is the plan, is to get those in either before or as we put in the tulips. So that is the plan on that. Now let's head up, because I've got 2 hydrangeas that are going to go on those other sides and those other beds. And oh my gosh, these are great hydrangeas, nice and petite. They're not going to be massive. They're not going to overtake your garden. Got a few little tips on how you can add these to your garden. Let me show you what they are. All right, so we are up here on the production shrub lot. You can see, you know, the project that Jerry and Jackson have been working on. So they're in the middle of that, working on that. That's why we have all that exposed soil over there. Now, we've got 2 hydrangeas that we're going to add to the berm. Y'all, so stinking excited about these, because both of these love the full sun. They are both panicle hydrangeas. They need at least 6 hours of sun, can handle all day sun. They bloom on new growth, meaning that every year we are guaranteed to have flowers. If I wanted to kind of trim them or cut some flowers at mid-season, then I will get a fresh round later on in the fall, and these are petite. So these will fit in a ton of different gardens, and these are tough, gorgeous hydrangeas. So what we have here, I've got one of each that I pulled for you to see. We have got Tiny Quickfire. Tiny Quickfire is relatively new on the market, and it is a very tiny little hydrangea. So the reason that I have the 2 quarts right here is because about 3 months ago, we ordered these plants from Proven Winners, knowing that they were going to go into the berm. So we got them as quarts, just like what we sell online, and then we went ahead and moved them up to a 3-gallon container. I wanted you to see what we started with and then where we are. So this is the Tiny Quickfire, and then the other hydrangea we're doing is Firelight Tidbit. So this is what we started with, and look what we have, and look at that. There is a new bloom on it. So let's talk about these hydrangeas and why this might be a good fit for your garden. So like I said, Tiny Quickfire, you're probably familiar with some of the Quickfires. So there's Quickfire, which is a nice big one. There's Little Quickfire, which is 3 to 5. There's Quickfire Fab, and now we have Tiny Quickfire. Tiny Quickfire will be absolutely covered in flowers, hardy in zones 3 to 8, needs a minimum of 5 hours of sun. It is an early bloomer, and it only gets to be 1.5 to 3 feet tall, 2 to 3 feet wide. So while you're looking at this hydrangea, and you know, historically you may look at this and go, oh my gosh, this is such a little tiny, like it's not a very mature plant. Well, but considering that it is a very miniature, petite panicle hydrangea, it has put on a ton of new growth. Now clearly, because we are in mid-November, it has very little foliage. So it has lost a lot of the leaves. It does have the little tips on it. But this is a beautiful one, and if you are in the South, like me, it can be quite challenging to get panicle hydrangeas to turn that rosy pink color in the fall, because we're so hot and so humid, and typically they just will turn brown. I will say that I have had Tiny Quickfire turn a gorgeous rosy mauve color. So I have high hopes that I'm going to get some coloration on her. I'm not going to get Michigan color. I'm not going to get the mountain color. So Jerry and I were just in the mountains yesterday. They are much cooler. Their nights cool down. Yes, they're still warm and humid, but their nights cool down. So that's the big difference. If your nights in the summertime are as hot and as humid and as sticky as they are during the day, your panicles probably are not going to turn that beautiful red color. If we can get any kind of color on them, then I personally am happy with it. So Tiny Quickfire, since it is going to be the smallest one, we're going to keep it closer to the lower end of the berm, closer to the grass, so that we can enjoy those. So we have got those. Then Firelight Tidbit. Now you can see that there is quite the difference in growth. So like, look at that. Yeah? Is that not crazy? So you can, when you get a quart-size shrub, you can move it up and put it in a container, or if you want to put it in the ground, you can do that. But I just want to show you the rapid growth in 3 months' time with these hydrangeas. Now, Firelight Tidbit is amazing. It is a strong, sturdy, very stocky plant. You can see that is holding onto its leaves a lot more than Tiny Quickfire, and it has beautiful fall foliage on it, right? So we have not done anything special to these guys. They are literally sitting out here on the black plastic with irrigation, and this is what it looks like. We've even got that fresh, sweet little bloom on it. Firelight Tidbit is still, there's a Firelight family. So Tidbit is going to be the smallest, hardy in zones 3 to 8, 2 to 3 tall, 3 feet wide. Again, still needs a minimum of 5 hours of sun, but man, we have been so impressed with Tidbit. We have Tidbit at our church. If you remember, we planted up the flower bed after they did some construction. That's at one of the entrances to the church, and it's like a main entrance. So you get tons of people walking through there. We're blessed with tons of kids. So kids, they'll run through the flower beds. They don't know any better. So these hydrangeas have done amazing. There was one right after we planted it, and I think somebody fell on it. I think a kid fell on it because it was smashed and it was broken. And I told Jerry, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to replace it. Well, life happened and I never got to it. I never replaced it. Honey, that thing came back stronger and better than ever in that season. So it is nice and strong and stocky. The limbs do not flop. It is gorgeous flowers, and then you get that fall color on it. Love, love, love it. So those are the two that we're going to be adding to the berm, along with some other shrubs. I'm not really sure exactly what we're going to do. That's still to be determined. I have to think on it a little bit, and then have fun, of course, with the perennials in there as well. Going for that 4 seasons of interest. That's what we want. Now, I'm going to pop up here to the annex, because while I've been filming this video, we had FedEx come, and I believe he had some new products that I cannot wait to see, because I want to show them to you. So let me go investigate this, and then I'll show you what arrived. Okay, my friends, they did arrive, and I'm so excited. I have been wanting to see these little guys for a long time now, and they arrived. So much fun. So what we have that came today are 2 new little, as I about fall over something, 2 new watering cans. One, y'all, look at this cutie patootie. This is just a little bit less than a half a gallon. Perfect for indoor plants. It is so stinking cute. It has that lovely, beautiful, like hunter green color to it. And look at that great spout. So I personally, with my indoor plants, I like having just a straight spout. I don't want my indoor watering can to have like the, the spray, shall we say, on it, because my indoor plants, the containers are a lot smaller, and I want to be able to direct the water either directly into the pot or in the saucer if they have a saucer underneath them. So I am so excited to get these. These will be available on the website now. So if you're interested in these would make great gifts for yourself or somebody else in your life, but super cute, right? So the handle I love because it's easy, 1, to carry, and then 2, it can just easily tip, and you can water your indoor plants. So we have those. And then this is not a new watering can, it's just a new color. We have the galvanized metal one, but this is the green. So this is a 2.5 gallon watering can, perfect for outside. I have the galvanized color, love it, but I also love this green because it's such a classic color. It will blend in to your garden. So if you want to tuck it amongst some shrubs or whatever, it will easily blend in. And then I love the gold spout, right? So this spout has a nice gentle flow to it because the holes are tiny and there's a bunch of them. You can easily water something and it's not going to beat down the plant. Or if you want to, if I can do it, I don't know if I can do it one-handed. I can't do it one-handed. This easily screws off, and so if you want to have just the spout without the flow, you can do that. And there is a washer right here, so that way when you have on this, the head, it's not going to dribble and it is not going to leak because it has that black washer right here that is nice and secure on the watering can. So those are so much fun. So we will have those available on the website right now. They are here and ready to be shipped. So that is super exciting. But all of the supplies we've been talking about here lately, like with the Felco bundles, y'all have been gobbling them up. Y'all were so excited we had to order more Felcos, but you can see like the front tubs are empty. We've got plenty back here in the back, but yeah, so y'all have been gobbling those up like crazy, especially that Felco maintenance bundle. So the maintenance bundle has all of those necessary components to take care of your Felcos, whether it's the spray or it's the 905 like multi-tool, all sorts of things. But this Felco bundle that we offer is a great one to maintain your Felcos. And then of course we have all the different Felco sizes available. It looks like y'all been hitting those 322s, those little snips. These are great for if you're trying to do some like fine pruning with whether it's roses or like tomatoes, because sometimes I find that the tomatoes is better on the tomato if I like snip the stem. So obviously we're not in tomato season, but this is a great one that I use a bunch of things for. So those are like the little snips. So those are really fun. And then of course the blades, if you want to replace your blades, we have those as well. Thinking about maintenance and taking care of your plants. And I know y'all, it may not be hummingbird season right now, but I am a big supporter rather of ordering your supplies that you need for the garden before that season hits, right? So I always, because one, typically they're always available. And so when you buy things out of season, that way when the season does hit, boom, there you go. This is the little hummingbird feeder that I have on our kitchen window that the hummingbirds love. They come to it like crazy. So what's so fun is that it attaches to the window. So if you have somebody in your life that loves hummingbirds, this would be a really fun gift for them because it has the two suctions on it, and then this will hold 1 cup of nectar for the hummingbirds. And I can attest over and over and over again that the hummingbirds love this feeder. That's actually why we have this in stock, is because this is the feeder that I've had for years. And we were like, we need to be able to find this so that we can offer it to y'all, because every time we had a video and y'all saw this in the video, you're like, where is that hummingbird feeder from? So that is the hummingbird feeder. And then we get asked a ton of questions all the time about pests, right? You have pests in your garden. If you are in the South, and I can't even say now just the South, because unfortunately these pests are moving both north and west. Japanese beetles. Yep. Japanese beetles are just, they just get me. And I think every gardener that has Japanese beetles, they just absolutely drive insane. The best thing that I have used in my garden is the tree and shrub drench. And the reason that I'm bringing this up to you now is because, yes, it is not Japanese beetle season, but Fertilome recommends that the best time to apply this drench is in the fall. So that would be now. So what it is a tree and shrub drench. So it has the directions on there, but you mix so many ounces of the drench with like a gallon of water, and then you pour it around the base of the plant, and then the roots will soak up the drench, and then it protects the plant from any chewing insect. So this will take care of, it'll take care of your Japanese beetles, your aphids, your whiteflies, your budworms, anything that is chewing on the plant. It will take care of it, and it lasts for 12 months. Now, I know the big concern all the time is with people, well, what about, does this harm our pollinators? We have used this for years, and I only use it on the plants that are susceptible to those Japanese beetles or a high probability of like a massive caterpillar infestation, right? We have never noticed an issue with our pollinator population. It is quite strong. So we have that available. If you want to go the organic route for your caterpillars, not the Japanese beetles, this will not affect the Japanese beetles. They will just laugh at you. But it is the caterpillar spray with the BT, right? So this is that biological insecticide. This is the one that comes in the spray form, so you can just, it's ready to use. I have used this with my El Nino because unfortunately El Nino is susceptible to the Catalina sphinx moth. Y'all, it completely defoliated my El Nino that is every bit of like 7-8 feet tall. It was the grossest thing because the entire tree was covered in hundreds of these caterpillars. I could literally stand there and hear their poop falling. It was gross. So what I did is I ran and I got to my BT spray and I sprayed that entire tree. In a couple hours, well, definitely by the next morning, they were all dead. Because that El Nino is getting so big, and now that I know that it is susceptible to the Catalina sphinx moth and all of those massive nasty caterpillars that completely defoliated the tree, this fall I'm going to go ahead and treat it with the tree and shrub drench because because that tree is going to be so big, I'm not going to be able to spray that whole tree with the BT. And it's kind of like once they found it, then they know that it's there. So that's the deal on that. And then we do have the bigger size of the brush and stump killer. So if you, we had it in just the little small size right here. Now we have it in a bigger size, and we have the fungicide. So this is the liquid systemic fungicide 2, ready to use, that helps control those major diseases like your roses. So if you get like black spot and that kind of stuff, that will take care of that. So whatever it may be, you know, gardening is all just one big science experiment, right? So we're trying to figure out what's happening. And one year everything may be great, and the next year you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? That's what was with me with my El Nino. I've had that El Nino, has been in the ground for 2 summers now. The first summer, not a problem. Everything was great. And then this summer, I looked up and I was like, where are all my leaves? And I went to investigate. And those nasty, oh, it was the grossest thing ever, were just absolutely had demolished that tree. It's alive, but whew, she took a beating. So every year is something different, whether we're looking at redesigning a flower bed like we are going to be doing with the berm. We're looking at if something's not working, let's fix it, right? If you've got pest problems, whatever it may be, that's the thing about gardening. You're never done. A garden is never finished, and every year presents new challenges and adventures in the gardening world. So, you know, you're never bored. That's for one thing. All right, my friends, as always, we hope you found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.